Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. For context, I own my own restaurant and have it for about 18 years. We're a classic Italian from scratch farm to table, so naturally a lot goes into it. One of the sauces we make goes into several different dishes and we make this in large batches. On a normal day, we cook this for about 6 hours. On the days that we make it, I come in around 4 a.m. to get it going since we have a lunch service then dinner service. It's one of my favorite recipes and I love making it, even if it means I'm sleep deprived. Lol. My father recently retired from his job and has been working with me 3 days out of the week. Normally, he's just helping with some of the daily cleaning and pre-opening work I needed help with, and it has worked out. However, my dad thinks he knows more than other people and thinks he's usually right and everyone else is wrong. The sauce that we make has exact and specific measurements for spices and we have not changed this. This is what works best for us and how it needs to be and stay this way. The other day, I was making the sauce and had to go in and do something in the office. I asked my dad to just stir the sauce for me and I would be back in a few minutes. Should have been it and no issues. I think I was going for 5 minutes. Later on, I went ahead and tasted everything and I was shocked that the pepper flavor was so high that there was no way I could serve this and no way to salvage it. I called my executive chef over to taste it and see if she did anything different and we were both shocked. The whole batch was ruined and we were opening in 2 hours. My dad asked what the problem was and I told him and he said he added some black pepper because the sauce has always been too bland for him. The long story short was that we had some serious words and I told him that he just cost me a lot of time and money and did something that he had no business doing and that he was fired and to get out of my restaurant. He said I can't fire him because he was my dad and I said I was his current employer and that when we're behind these closed doors referring to the restaurant, that all personal relationships are null and void and I could and just did fire him and that he needed to leave and not come back and that I would mail him his final check. My phone has been blowing up from my mom saying that you never fire a parent, that he was only trying to help and make an improvement and that I need to take him back. I said no. Then the rest of the family started to blow up my phone saying that what I did was wrong and that I either hire him or none of them will be there for Thanksgiving. My husband says I was in the right and did nothing wrong. Edit. I wanted to throw away some information in really quickly. I was extremely apprehensive in hiring him as a staff member because I know how he is. He has always had the mentality that I'm right and everyone else is wrong, and we have gone nose to nose many times because of this. My parents have always been active in the business, mostly helping to fill in if I was shorthanded or such. And he has overstepped his boundaries a few times during these times as well, thinking he could manage my staff. He and my mom have always had strict guidelines as to what they can or cannot do. When he retired, he asked if I had any positions open, and I told him that I really only wanted to keep him and my mom as fill-in, but he said he was bored and needed to do something and look forward to. I told him that fine, I would hire him, but he had a 90-day probationary period and I told him exactly what I wanted him to do. I told him from the beginning that I was hesitant about this because I know how he is and that he needs to understand that he is not the boss there. That just because he's my dad, that he cannot overstep bounds here. He said he understood, so he knew all along what was expected of him. People are asking why my chef couldn't just fix the batch. The amount of black pepper he added was like, he took the lid off and tipped the bottle over for about 3 seconds and just poured. It was so overpowering that even my chef, who has worked for me for 10 years, wasn't sure if she could fix it. Spicy or not, there was no way to fix it or serve it. We did have leftover and enough to get us through while we hurried and started a new batch. But the point is that it cost us a lot of money and time that we didn't really have. Edit. I was asked why he was in the kitchen in the first place when he was hired to clean and help get ready to open. He had come back to tell me that we needed something ordered or purchased because we were low on supply. I had just had an order come in that I needed to go get payment for and the sauce was hard boiling and I just needed it to be stirred while I did this. I asked him to just stir the sauce while I went and got the check done. I was gone maybe 10 minutes and at the time he and I were the only two that were at work. I myself do a lot of cooking and prep work, also so my chef, or none of the kitchen staff had arrived yet or were just coming in. He just had one job to do, that was it. So am I the a-hole for firing my dad? Not the a-hole. Your restaurant's revenue depends upon the quality of your food. You have a recipe that you've been following for years, and dear old dad comes in and ruins the whole batch of sauce because it was too bland for him. Fact is, it's not about how the sauce tastes to him. A new employee charged with cleaning, not cooking. He did cost you time and money, you did the right thing. This restaurant is your pride and joy, your bread and butter, so to speak. And you can't have employees, no matter who they are, just changing recipes at willy-nilly, with no concern for how your customers will react to the change and no concern for how their boss will react. If you hire him back, your employees will see favoritism, knowing that they would get fired for the same behavior. It will affect your ability to properly manage your staff. At least now, your employees see that you're willing to fire your dad for unacceptable behavior, so you won't hesitate to fire them as well if they don't stay on the up and up. Stand your ground with your family. It's your restaurant, your money, and your time that you can lose if someone can't follow simple requests, directions, and rules. Not the a-hole. He ruined the day's batch of sauce and made no apology. He cost your business money and I'm sure disappointed many of your customers. If your family doesn't understand that, you're better off without them. A regular employee would never have deliberately messed up the sauce like that, even if they didn't like it. Your dad was pushing the boundaries because of your relationship, and that is all the more reason why he had to be fired. He can't abuse your relationship and then expect it to protect him. Not the a-hole. Tell them all to reimburse for both the time and cost of the ingredients that he destroyed because he didn't like the taste of it. Your family needs to accept that when you went above and beyond by hiring your dad when you didn't have to, and now it's time for them all to put their money where their mouth is and hire him themselves. You're running a business, not a halfway house for wayward retirees. From your comments, OP, I see that you were reluctant to hire him in the first place, and events unfortunately bore that out. All the relatives blowing up your phone are welcome to both reimburse you for the lost time and costs and keep him occupied if they care so much. Next story. I, 40 male, have a 19-year-old daughter with my ex and 2 small children, 7 and 2 years old, with my wife. My daughter lives in Nevada with her mother. I live in Virginia. I FaceTime with her a few times a week for about an hour or two to catch up. The last time she visited me in person was in June. She stayed for a week. She was quite rude to my wife, giving her the side eye and an attitude with everything she said to her, and wasn't really engaging with our small kids. She was cold towards them. She was trying to get my full attention constantly and then got mad when I gave attention to my wife or the younger ones. I invited my daughter out to my house for Thanksgiving last month and offered to pay for her flights. She said she didn't know if she's going to have to work and if her mother had plans and that she would get back to me. I asked her again last week and she still didn't know what was going on, so I didn't buy her plane tickets. She would have come out last night and stayed until Sunday night. Yesterday, I took my 7-year-old to the mall and then ice skating. I posted his pics on social media because I thought they were cute and my daughter saw them. She got jealous and commented, "I guess being your firstborn doesn't mean anything to you because you go and do things with your other kids and leave me out of everything again. You act like I don't even exist. Gee, I wonder what it would be like to have a father. I don't know why you pretend to care about me." I did talk to her on FaceTime for about a half hour last night, but she was acting weird and giving me attitude. I asked if everything was okay and if she wanted to talk about anything, and she abruptly ended the call and ignored my texts. The 7 and 2-year-old live with me. She does not. I'm going to be more active in their lives because I see them every day and I do things with them all the time. I've offered to move her out here and she doesn't want to because she hates my wife for some reason and she's jealous of the younger ones. She wants it to be all about her and my attention constantly on her. I'm at my mom's house right now with my wife and 2 kids for Thanksgiving, and my daughter will not stop calling me. She told me she's not at work and her mom is in a bad mood and they aren't doing anything. She called me selfish for not buying her plane tickets and getting her hopes up for nothing, and she hopes I choke on my food. She said I'm the worst father ever. No father would exclude their daughter in holiday plans for their other family. She told me not to FaceTime her ever again and to pretend she doesn't exist, and she hates me. I'm now ignoring her calls because I feel like she's trying to ruin our Thanksgiving. Info. This isn't a Thanksgiving plans problem or a problem from the visit earlier this year. This is a much longer term problem that started years ago and hasn't been fixed as of years later. Did you move away after the divorce or did her mom move away? If you moved away, she probably felt and still feels like you abandoned her to make a replacement family. Since your middle child is 7, you have presumably been divorced and with your new wife for at least 8 years, probably longer. Your daughter is 19 now, but she was 11 or younger then. Living so far apart, did you make sure you saw her in person on a regular basis? Did you make sure she was able to get to know your new wife before you got remarried? Did you provide opportunities for them to bond? Was she actively involved in the wedding? Were you as active in your oldest daughter's life after the new wife and kids were in the picture as you were before them? Have you created opportunities for her to bond with her siblings over the past 7 years? This doesn't sound like a 19-year-old girl just randomly being a brat. This sounds like a 19-year-old girl who has spent years feeling like an outsider in her dad's life and who feels like she was left behind when her dad went out and made a replacement family. So no, you aren't an a-hole for not having bought a plane ticket when she refused to confirm if she wanted to join you for Thanksgiving. But whether or not you created the underlying problems that caused this, or if she's just being a brat, is unknown. Edited to add, updating my vote since a lack of any answers over the 5+ hours since posting is an answer. So until further notice is provided, I'm going to presume that my suspicions are correct, which would make it, you're the a-hole. Opie said that the daughter was jealous of the wife and kids last visit. Did he ever make time to spend one-on-one just for the daughter? The worst way to get a kid to bond with a step-parent is to always include the step-parent in everything. Kids need to spend time with their parents and step-parents and new siblings. If she's only visiting for a week, she wants to spend time with dad and feel like he sees her, not that she's a fifth wheel to his new family. This is a classic situation of dad moves away and gets a new family. Your daughter is processing this and is lashing out because she's seeing you live a new life with new kids and a new wife, and she's wondering why she wasn't good enough. Why did you have to leave and get a new family? Obviously, I understand things happen. I'm just saying this is her perspective. Of course, she doesn't like your wife and your kids. They are her replacements. They're the people you chose to live with across country over choosing to live with her. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but your daughter needs therapy. She's an adult now, though a very young one, and she needs a way to work through this anger. No a-holes here. No a-holes here. You offered twice and she rejected both times. If you have the screenshot, you can try sending that, but that would kill the mood rather help. As you tried to get her to come, but she denied. She comes off as an entitled brat. However, it does seem like she's more wanting to spend time with you than your kids and wife. Seeing how she only talks to you on her calls, she might be building resentment towards the kid's wife because you spend more time with them rather than her and do things one-on-one. Consider asking her if she wants to come for New Year's or Christmas and do something solely with her, like one-on-one, rather than as a family. Not sure if you're co-parenting well, but perhaps your daughter got her hopes high for doing something with her mom only to find out there's nothing. Now she's upset there's nothing to do, meanwhile knowing you and your family will be having a beautiful Thanksgiving. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, try seeing it from her shoes. You seem like a wonderful dad for trying. Edit, I only say no a-holes here because at the end of it all, she's still a child. She said she hates you, but if she's still calling, it's because she cares. Next story. For a little bit of background info, I'm 23 male, white, and my girlfriend is 22 female, black. My grandparents are extreme racists, and although it's just the two of them, they are the loudest and will find any opportunity to let everyone know that they hate non-white individuals. Because of this, I'm not that close to my family, especially my parents, as they never say anything about it and even laugh at racist jokes. I don't go to family gatherings or parties because 1, my girlfriend is black and I don't want her to be subjected to straight up harassment by racist family members, and 2, I don't want to be around racists and people who tolerate racism. A few weeks ago, my parents invited my girlfriend and I to go to family Thanksgiving dinner. This was a huge shock to us, as ever since my family found out we were dating, they stopped contacting me and cut me off financially. I was a bit hesitant, but my girlfriend insisted we go, as I had gone to her family's Thanksgiving dinner last year, and that if anything went wrong, we could just go home. When we showed up, the majority of the family greeted her, but my grandparents stayed seated on the couch and refused to even look at us. When it came to the dinner itself, my parents started asking my girlfriend what she did for a living and just the typical get-to-know-you questions. My girlfriend told them she was a college graduate and a registered nurse. My grandfather chuckled and said, "Of course it is." The table kind of got quiet after that, and even though I hadn't touched a single thing on my plate, I started gathering my stuff. "Granddad, are you seriously leaving?" No answer. "You know what? Get your stupid slur for black people out of here. It was never invited anyways." My girlfriend ran to the car and I completely blew up on my parents and grandparents. A lot of my family members were also defending her along with me, and some people just left. I told them to never talk to me ever again and that I would never be coming back to any other family gathering. My dad tried pulling me to the side to get me to calm down, but I blew up on him and my mom for even inviting me in the first place. They knew my grandfather would say something, and the fact that they weren't even defending my girlfriend when he said that pissed me off even more, and I stormed out. My girlfriend and I just got home and we both calmed down. I apologized to her about everything, but I got a phone call from my dad. I thought he was calling to apologize for everything that had happened, but instead, he yelled at me for ruining the Thanksgiving dinner, and he told me that I overreacted and that I should have just left. He said that I just made everyone hate my grandparents and that he was born in different times, so I should have just let him be. I've gotten texts from my mom and sister telling me to come back and to apologize to my grandfather. In my opinion, I did what I had to do in order to defend my girlfriend, but am I the a-hole here? Did I overreact? Should I have just left? Not the a-hole so much. You could have just left, but it sounds like everyone has spent their life appeasing your grandparents and someone has to call them out on their bull eventually. They mess around and found out. Besides, it could have looked like complacency to just ignore what they said, and your girlfriend would never forget that. Racists don't deserve their comments to be met with awkward silence. You were actively anti-racist, and that's a good thing. Not the a-hole. Good for you for standing your ground and defending your girlfriend. You don't need that poison in your life. Unfortunately, you cannot pick your family of origin, but you can pick your family of choice. I would cut the grandparents out of your life permanently and press on. You're young and will find many future years of enjoyment with a family of choice. Not the a-hole. I would hope my husband would defend me the same way. You can't help change their minds. You can only control your reaction and what you choose to do from here. We all have someone in our family that does this kind of bull crap. I'm the black sheep in my family. My husband doesn't speak to his family anymore. It hurts for a year, but he's much happier without them and their issues. You choose your own happiness. Take care and try to have a good Thanksgiving night.